Dear future bureaucrats of India, welcome to another session on Indian economy. Today we will listen to a story first. A boy used to go to a nearby shop to buy biscuits worth rupees 10 every day. But one day, when he approached the shopkeeper, he refused to give him biscuit at rupees 10. The shopkeeper said that, "Dear son, the price of biscuit had increased to 15 rupees. The boy was wondering, till yesterday I was purchasing the biscuit at rupees 10 and now its price is increased to 50. The price rise is not only with the biscuits. You may have experienced the price rise in the daily life, ranging from books, movie tickets, transportation, and almost all the commodities, including apparel that you wear. Why the prices are increasing? This is because of inflation. Let's listen to a story of inflation in detail today. Let's discuss more about inflation. Simply put, inflation is a sustained rise in general level of prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. It is driven by demand and supply. Increased demand and lower supply can both lead to higher inflation. Inflation is experienced when society feels that the prices of commodities are going up and correspondingly the ability of the money to purchase these goods and services are coming down. According to the rate of change of price levels, inflation has been classified into different types, such as walking inflation, running inflation, galloping inflation, and the extreme being the hyperinflation. How to measure this inflation? Economics measure the inflation by measuring the change in prices. The price level changes can be measured by price indices. A price index will measure the change in prices. So using different price indices like WPI, CPI, the inflation can be measured. When it's come to managing inflation, the expectations are the key. You may have heard the term anchoring or targeting. Inflation expectations are considered to be anchored if inflation rates are near to central bank's expectation or central bank's target and generally matches with what consumers are expected to pay. Anchored expectation gives central bank and government more scope to increase the expansionary policies and stimulating demand. When prices and people expectation go in different direction, we can call it as a de-anchor. And when that happens, inflation can take off and be very costly to rein back in. That's why central banks must clearly communicate about the inflation targets with the concerned authorities like a Monetary Policy Committee in India. They decide the key interest benchmark rates. Hence, inflation is a rise in general level of prices. In the short run, it is desirable indeed because it is associated with the higher demand and higher growth. However, over the medium and long term, inflation rates can actually discourage investment and stall growth. Will prices keep changing? Well, that can be very sure. Monetary Policy Committee has been following an accommodative policy stance in the last few meetings, but the recent IMF projections shows that inflation will continue to rise before returning to the pre-pandemic levels by 2022. So, while there is no firm answer on the future of inflation, there are indicators all around us. Paying attention to them, combined with the smart policy and timely action from the policymakers, will keep the prices stable. It is not only the prices of biscuits, and if only the prices of biscuits are increasing, it is not inflation. Inflation must happen when the general level of almost all the prices of commodities are increasing, like the food you consume, the drinks you consume, and the apparels, the movie, and the travel expenses. All the goods and services are the prices of almost all the goods and services are increasing. Then it is named as inflation. Traditionally, monetary policy has been devised by the central bank of a country. For India, it is Reserve Bank of India. But lately, Reserve Bank felt a need that government should also take part in the key policy decision of the central bank. Hence, they introduced a body called a Monetary Policy Committee, which will decide the key benchmark interest rates like repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rates, etc. And presently, Monetary Policy Committee, the body created by the combination of both the Government of India as well as the Reserve Bank of India, is in charge of managing inflation at expected levels. Central Bank is the apex banking authority in the country which issues guidelines for other banks to operate. and it is in the charge of controlling the overall money supply in the economy as well as issuing guidelines for other financial institutions to work. In India, it is Reserve Bank of India, as you know, is the apex banking authority in the country, which issues guidelines and also in charge of controlling the money supply. Inflation is desirable in the short run as it encourages the money supply as well as the economic growth. You can see this by the statement of the Monetary Policy Committee, where they have given a mandate that inflation should be brought to 4% with a band of 2, which means that a necessary amount, an ideal amount of inflation is necessary for the economic growth and development.